A very good evening to all of you. Welcome to another episode of Boost Your Vocabulary with Nishra Srivastav, and I welcome you to the channel of Pratham Test Prep. I hope you're all doing well. आप लोगों का great seasons of all the festivities अच्छा गया होगा, and that now you're all pumped up for whatever's gonna come in the future. आज का topic is actually interesting. I thought let's do something different today. So what I have planned for today is slightly different in terms of whatever we were doing. अभी भी हम करेंगे vocabulary ही. We will still be discussing words, 5 words, but actually I will make you understand the idea or the meaning behind some of the words, especially some of the brands that name their their products. So a lot of times you do realize some words, some brands name their products almost without any meaning per se, but there are other brands जिनका actual में नाम का कुछ meaning होता है. So we're going to be looking at those brands that have some meaning to their name, and we will understand what is the meaning of each of those brands and those products name, right? So 5 words, 5 brands we'll pick up today, and we'll try and understand the meaning of each one of them, right? Okay, so that's the idea, and of course by the end of this I'm sure you'd be able to tell me some more brands that you might have seen जिनके कुछ meanings है, right? And eventually we'll probably come up with more such brands, right? But today we're going to be doing 5, and then you can give me ideas for more brands like those, okay? Alright, so we'll start with the first brand. सबसे पहला जो brand है जिसका meaning कुछ निकल के आता है is SNICKERS. So I'm sure everybody has in their lives at least once had Snickers, right? Or Snickers is very often confused with sneakers, which sneakers of course are your shoes, but this isn't what that means. Snickers is actually a verb and इसका meaning है, right? So Snickers का meaning basically is to laugh in a very suppressed manner. ऐसे जैसे कि बहुत ही दबा के हंसना, like in the sense of not laughing really loudly, okay, and laughing sort of in a way where you're just trying to not it's actually like when you're scorning somebody or you're mocking somebody, उसको हम Snickers कहते हैं, right? So it's not when you are laughing out loud. No, it's not. That's not what Snickers is. Snickers is when you laugh silently, or you laugh half-heartedly, or you laugh in a suppressed manner, not very openly, but because the idea is to mock the other person. Okay, so that is what what Snickers is. So if you look at the meanings here, to laugh in a suppressed manner, mostly to scorn someone. Sneer is another word, and snicker के लिए एक और word है which is very similar to it. It's called snigger. Snigger also means the same thing. जब हंसी रोकना से ज़्यादा हंसी को like कम हंसना, alright, like हंसना but not हंसना and like ha हंसना, okay? So it's like suppressed way में थोड़ा सा कम हंसना, but also because you're trying to mock somebody, okay? So जब आप किसी का मजाक उड़ाते हो, so the way you kind of sneer at them, look at them, and you just kind of like like that kind of thing, that's Snickers, okay? So it's a negative way of laughing because you're making fun of somebody. So sentence wise you could see he could imagine them snickering as he passed. So maybe he thought that other people are making fun of him, और इसलिए वो he could imagine like when he was passing them, they're snickering at them. That means they're laughing at them, giggling at them because they're making fun. So sneering and sniggering, those are some of the words that you can use for somebody who laughs at you, almost not very out loud but in a very overted way, and okay, थोड़ा छुपा के, but because they're making fun of you. So because it's nothing funny that they're laughing at you, so of course they can't be like ha, right? So it's a verb because you see that they are doing this action. He could imagine them doing this action of snickering, of laughing at you. So that's basically that, and you also see that the meaning has 2 in it. So that's basically what snicker is. So it's a verb, right? So I hope that now you're clear of what Snickers, as that one chocolate that we all love, I think, means. Snickers then in fact is actually a negative word. Okay, that was the first word. Let's head on to the second word, second brand पे चलते हैं. The second brand is a very well-known fashion and magazine brand. It's called Vogue, right? And काफ़ी befittingly named brand actually, because Vogue in itself means something that's in trend. Okay, Vogue in itself means the prevailing fashion, the fashion that is ongoing. Alright, so trend and fashion, the style of fashion that's ongoing, is actually what Vogue means. So very, very well done on naming the brand, I must say. And then you have two other words here. One is called fad, the other is called craze. Craze is again trend. Craze is, when somebody is obsessed over something. So that's craze. And then there is fad. Fad could actually mean in a negative way. It can mean like a very short-lived style or a very short-lived trend. It necessarily doesn't have to be fashion. It can be any sort of fad, right? It can be that one ritual that everybody followed. Okay, so we just said reels are our current fad. Okay, इससे पहले TikTok was the fad, and so on and so forth. So fad actually does not necessarily have to be, dressing up and makeup and all of those things. It can be any sort of trend. Okay, whereas Vogue, when you talk about Vogue is essentially when you speak of your clothing, your makeup, your accessories, those kinds of things majorly come under Vogue. Okay, so but also it can also mean the trend, the ongoing wave. So fad does not have any fashion aspect to it as such. Okay, but Vogue can have a fashion aspect to it. Vogue can have any sort of other trend that may be ongoing, any sort of wave that can be ongoing. So we can say that right now what you can see is series. You have a lot of TV series and they are in vogue at this point. Okay, they are the vogue, they are the trend. So on and so forth. Okay, so sentence wise we can say that the vogue is to make realistic films. Well, at this point the vogue is to become an influencer. Okay, everybody is becoming an influencer. So the vogue is to become an influencer. That's the fashion, that's the style, it's the fad. Okay, that's what you can think of from this word. It's a noun because you think that something is in trend or something is to make realistic. So again, if you can relate the word vogue here, replace it with something that's a noun, and other than that you have a determiner in the meaning of the word, so clearly it is still a noun. So that was the second word. That's our second brand that we looked at, and a very, very befitting name to the way that this brand functions. Third पे चलते हैं. थर्ड वाला इज सो विम आई एम श्योर हम लोगों ने पहले भी एक बार किया हुआ है. विम इज हमने बात करी थी. विम हैज़ द पावर ऑफ 100 लेमन्स. रिमेंबर, विम में है 100 नींबुओं की शक्ति, राइट? सो दैट्स बेसिकली व्हाट इट इज़. हमने शक्ति से रिलेट किया था. सो 100 नींबुओं की शक्ति मेंट विम ऑफ 100 लेमन्स. ओके, सो दैट वाज द आइडिया. विम ऑफ 100 लेमन्स, which meant that vim is actually energy, it's power, it's enthusiasm, it's verve, it's fervor, passion, the drive with which you work, right? That is what vim is. So it's generally used with the word vigor. Vigor also means the same thing, but that comes together, right? Vim and vigor, they come together in general. So enthusiasm, verve, fervor, passion. You can also say आर्डर भी यूज़ कर सकते हैं हम. इसमें पावर भी यूज़ कर सकते हैं, राइट? सो ऑल ऑफ दीज वर्ड्स आर बेसिकली synonyms of vim. So in the sentence you can see that it says in his youth he was full of vim and vigor. That means अपने जवानी के टाइम पे he was full of enthusiasm, a lot of energy and a lot of power, passion for doing things. He was driven at a certain thing, right? So that's vim for us. So हम इसको vim, which is vim of 100 lemons, which is 100 नींबुओं की शक्ति से याद रखेंगे, and that's basically what vim is. So again, I think not a half bad named brand, because the idea was, again, this was utensil cleaner, right? So not bad in naming this brand, because you basically are talking about the energy that 100 lemons have. So yeah, good enough. It's a noun because you see enthusiasm at the end, IASM, leads to it being a noun. And other than that, you will realize he's full of something. So again, you have something here. Energy, passion, fervor, they are all nouns, because energetic is the adjective to energy, passionate is the adjective to passion, fervent is the adjective to fervor, so on and so forth. So you do realize that this one is a noun. Alright, moving on to the fourth fourth word for the day, which is anomaly. I'm sure आप लोगों ने अभी, this is a very recently launched brand. Can you tell me quickly in the chat box who is the owner of this brand? It has very recently been launched, and it's actually a very famous actress who's launched this. And I can tell you that the hint here is this is basically a brand with a lot of hair products. Alright, majorly, and it's just very recently launched in India. She's an Indian actress, but she launched this product, this brand, first outside of India, and it has very recently come in India. Yes, Ananya, very good. It is Priyanka Chopra, very nice. So in fact, she recently launched it here in India, etc. So Anomaly is a hair product brand, and it has now come to India apparently. What we're looking at is anomaly as a word means something that deviates from what is standard, normal, or expected. So something that is different from the normal, something that sways from the normal, from the standard, or from what is expected out of somebody. So you can think of something as abnormal is anomaly. So abnormality is anomaly. Peculiarity, when something is peculiar, again something is strange, weird, eccentric, right? So peculiarity here then would be correct as well. Oddity, again another word that you can probably realize, because odd, something that's odd is something that's strange, not to the standard that we expect. So again similar. Abnormality, irregular, something that's irregular is not the regular one, not the normal one, not the standard one. Okay, so yeah, irregularity. And again we talked about eccentricity, again strangeness, weirdness, quirkiness, all of those words will come here handy when talking about anomaly. So anomaly, I don't know, I mean maybe what Priyanka Chopra thought of naming her brand was something that's different from the usual. Maybe that's the reason why it's called Anomaly. And if that's the thought process that went into naming this brand, maybe yeah, okay, we want to give her that benefit of doubt. But it's, in general, anomaly is a negative word. Alright, so when you call somebody an anomaly, or when we say that there are a lot of anomalies in a certain thing, we actually mean it in a negative way, right? So essentially this word is a negative word. When you say something that deviates from the standard, we don't say it in a appreciative tone. We don't say it कि वो बहुत अच्छी बात है कि आप दूसरों से हटके हैं, because that in that sense we use the word unique, right? अगर आप बोलते हो कि one of a kind है, दूसरों से हटके हैं, so we use unique. But here anomaly is most often than not used in a negative sense. So again, yeah, I mean if the thought process was that this is different from the usual brands, okay, well, we're not going to say whether it's a good name or a bad name, but it is what it is. Okay, so sentence wise, the sentence says there are a number of anomalies in the present system. So yeah, again, you realize that when you're saying, there are a number of anomalies in the present system, meaning that there are a lot of problems, oddities, abnormalities, things that need to probably be corrected, put into normal, put into the expected way, maybe that. So anomalies in general are negative. Okay, it's a noun, because you see that एक तो हमने ITY याद किया था, right? So ITY काफ़ी जगह पे you can see. Other than that, anomalous is the adjective, anomalous. So OUS at the end is an adjective, so anomaly is a noun. And so there are a number of something here, so obviously it is still a noun. That was our fourth brand, and let's head to the last brand. देखते हैं last brand कौन सा है. Okay, this is a common brand, Pedigree, which how do you relate this brand with? Do you know what is it used for? What is this brand known for? ये किसके लिए है ये brand? I'm sure you must be aware of Pedigree, right? And वहाँ से we'll try and relate whether it's for is it a good name for that brand or for that segment or not. What is this Pedigree brand for? It's for dog food. Exactly. So let's understand whether Pedigree is a good name for that one brand or for the product that they sell. Let's look at the meaning first. So Pedigree का meaning है recorded ancestry or lineage of a person or family. Basically आपका जो family tree है, आपकी ancestry कहाँ जाती है? Where do you lead back to? Where do you come from? Or what is your line of or your bloodline? Okay, so pedigree basically is your bloodline. That is one thing. Okay, in general that's what we understand from pedigree. So if he is of a, let's say sentence बोल रहा है aristocratic pedigree, meaning that he comes from a bloodline which were all aristocrats. Okay, people who were all aristocrats. So the recorded ancestry or lineage of a person or family, so उनकी bloodline, उनका family tree, वो कहाँ से आ रहे हैं, who are their ancestors, that's their pedigree. Descent also means the same thing. उनका descent would be again कि where are they coming from. Lineage and genealogy. Genealogy again is the study of their bloodline and ancestry, right? So his voice and manner suggested an aristocratic pedigree, meaning it looked like his family background and his ancestors were aristocrats. So maybe whatever the way he was, his body language, etc., showed that he comes from an aristocratic pedigree. Maybe you come from an elite pedigree, maybe you come from an educated pedigree or a pedigree of doctors, meaning that you come from an ancestral lineage of doctors. Okay, so on and so forth. So that's how you can use this word. It's a noun because it says the recorded ancestry, and so genealogy and lineage and descent, they are all nouns, and so suggested something. Okay, pedigree is the noun here, aristocratic being the adjective. Okay, now understanding whether this is a good name for a dog food brand. So pedigree not just means recorded ancestry of humans or in general people. It is actually also the record of an animal and understanding ki whether they are pure bred or not, meaning कि वो लोग mixed breed है या नहीं. Okay, and you might know that mixed breeds are a problem, right? Mixed breeds में क्या होता है, they might have a lot of genetic disorders, they may not be pure bred or true blood, right? So if it's a pure bred dog, the chances of its survival and chances of the fact that it will stay for a longer time is more. Okay, so pedigree actually also means pure bred. It means pure bred. It means a dog that belongs to a pure breed. That means a healthier dog than other dogs, etc. So maybe in that sense, not a bad name for that brand, right? A dog food brand that names itself pedigree basically is trying to imply that it is healthier than others. So yeah, I think that it's a very, very good name for a dog food brand. Shrishti says, ma'am, can you please provide one more example for this word? Absolutely. So maybe you can say, like I said, that he comes from a pedigree of doctors. What we understand by that is a family or a lineage, or where all his ancestors, everybody were doctors. Okay, so the idea again being कि जितने भी उसके ancestors थे सब doctors थे, right? Or he comes from a pedigree of money lenders, or he comes from a pedigree of colonizers. So now if somebody comes from a pedigree of colonizers, that means they were Britishers. Okay, so they basically colonized. So it can basically mean ancestry. It means your background or your bloodline and how your family has been. So that's our fifth word, and I hope that all the 5 words are clear to everybody and that you also enjoyed learning about some of the brands, that whether their names were in fact befitting or not. And I think all 5 brands did put a lot of thought into naming whatever they named themselves, except of course there are times when there are obviously always hidden stories behind why a certain brand named itself so. But in terms of vocabulary, I think not a bad job done here, right? And I hope that you had fun learning about them, and I'll come back next time with something more interesting. Take care of yourselves. Until then, have a very good night. Also, if you haven't subscribed to the channel just yet, please do that. hit the like button if you like this video, and share it among your friends so they also know. Alright, whatever they see on in their grocery shops, etc., they understand now that the meaning of each of these words in fact are related to something in English. Yeah. Alright, I'll see you next time. Take care of yourselves. Bye bye. Have a good night.